Great. My name is Kathyrn Alter. I'm the choreographer of Passage, and I will also be performing.
Soy Kathyrn Alter, soy la coreógrafa de Passage y estaré también presentándome en la obra.
Hello, I'm Ty Turley, and I live in New York, where I met Kathryn, and I make films, and I work on projections and interactive video installations, and sometimes augmented reality.
Ok, soy Ty Turley, vivo en Nueva York, me dedico a hacer cine, video y a veces realidad aumentada.
Yes.
Soy, Kathryn, vas a presentar un homenaje a Kazuko Hirabayashi. ¿Nos puedes decir algo sobre este bailarín? Sí.
Kazuko was a teacher of mine. She was my teacher at SUNY Purchase, where I went to college. She was my composition teacher, but she was a very important choreographer and teacher in New York. She taught at numerous institutions, at Juilliard, at Alvinelli School, and at SUNY Purchase. She was part of the reason why I think I was invited by Isabel the first time that I came to teach at Los Talleres, or at least kind of via another student of hers.
Ok, pues Kazuko Hirabayashi fue maestra mía de composición en SUNY Purchase. Fue muy importante en Nueva York. Ella dio clases en Juilliard, en SUNY Purchase y en algunas otras universidades importantes de Nueva York. Y fue, bueno, importante para mí y también posiblemente la razón por la que fui a México la primera vez y conocí a Isabel a través de otra de sus alumnas.
I also had the pleasure of learning about the Gram technique from Kazuko, and I found her teaching of that technique very liberated in how she Gram is a codified technique, so in some ways the structure of the class is just very specific and sometimes rigid in that the exercises are set. And I always felt in Kazuko's class that she really was able to transcend the formality of the structure and bring it to a very functional and expressive place.
Kazuko fue una maestra de Graham, que es una técnica bastante rígida, muy codificada. Y en el caso de ella, logró, sin embargo, pues, pese a esta rigidez, como lograr trascenderlo.
Also, I had the pleasure of dancing in numerous pieces that Kazuko choreographed. She actually created for me every senior from Purchase, in order to obtain their Bachelor of Fine Arts, they present a solo. And I danced a piece that Kazuko made for me. When she passed away in 2016, I had the honor of performing another solo of hers in her memorial. And this solo I wanted to quote this solo in Passage, in the piece I was making. So her solo hibernation materials from it, mainly the musical score which she used, was influential in Passage.
Cuando se gradúa uno en la universidad, te piden para darte tu licenciatura bailar un solo, y a mí me montó un solo Kazuko que se llamó, what was it called? Your
The solo she made for me was called A Pebble in the Field.
llamaba Una piedra en el campo. Y la pieza que ahora voy a hacer, y que, bueno, que presenté, cuando presenté, a ver, una pieza en el 2016, la función en memoria de Kazuko, presenté una que ella había hecho, y de esa tomé, the one that you did for the memorial was called what?
It was called Hibernation.
Esa pieza que hice en su memoria, la ceremonia de memoria se llamaba Hibernación, Hibernation, y de ese tomé materiales, en particular música, para hacer la pieza Passage que ahora estaré presentando.
I think that I think of a lot of my teachers as, especially ones that have passed on, that I think when I think about spirit, I think about how people influence us. And so, on that level, I would say probably all of my teachers who have passed, I see as some sort of spiritual guide. We played with Ty and I when Passage was we were invited to present a work at the Kyoto Butoh Festival, and I was invited by another former student of Kazuko. So when we started to work on this piece, it was important for me that we made something that had resonance for Japan specifically. So we started looking at Japanese folk stories, visual art from Japan, and there were lots of stories about people going into the wilderness and having encounters with spirits or magical beings. And so I think that was influential in the decision to have a kind of ghost or spirit as my partner in this duet.
La pregunta fue que si Kazuko de alguna forma es en esta pieza Passage el líder espiritual, y Kathryn lo que comenta es que todos sus maestros han sido, en particular los que han muerto, pasado a otra vida, han sido de alguna manera sus guías espirituales. Ahora bien, cuando le invitaron al Festival de Butoh en Kioto, a través de otra alumna de Kazuko y amiga, quiso hacer algo que tuviera una resonancia con Japón. Y así ella y Ty investigaron cuentos y tradiciones japonesas, en las cuales en varios casos se ve que la persona entra a lugares solitarios de la naturaleza, y tienen encuentros con espíritus o algunos tipos de como monstruos o seres especiales.
So, I mean, I guess the other thing I would mention is that in Hibernation, which is a solo that I wanted to reference, a solo that Kazuko made that I wanted to reference, she uses monks reciting the Heart Sutra. So this is a very specific Buddhist mantra, sutra about the transition between life and death, and what happens to us, what we need to potentially let go of or take with us. And so that transformation from life to death, specifically in her piece, but in passage, that transformation, I wanted there to be an essence outside of myself that was accompanying me on that journey.
En la pieza esta de hibernación que bailé de Kazuko, hay una referencia muy específica de la Sutra del Corazón, que habla de el paso entre la vida y la muerte, y quise tomar esa referencia, y por eso en la obra tengo como otra presencia que está conmigo y que me está como guiando.
Yes, I consider it a duet. What do you think, Ty?
That's a good question. I think there's moments where you feel like the dancer is aware of the ghost. They're aware of each other in the same way that happens in a duet. So I think it has a lot of elements of a duet in it.
La pregunta es si la obra entonces es más bien un dueto. Y preguntándole, Tai dice que pues sí, bien puede ser, porque de alguna forma la presencia del espíritu está allí, y en ese sentido pues sí, no está presente y es un dueto.
I've really Ty and I met each other during in grad school. I think if I could speak for myself, and Ty, please add, but a huge motivation for me to go back to grad school was just to try to discover new avenues of expression or to stretch myself creatively. And I was super interested in how we can use media to bring more references or more ways for the audience to connect to what a dancer might be doing on stage. And so I think through my work with Ty, it's been very fun to just have other tools to play with perspective and how we perceive time, and even how we perceive, I mean, in relationship to your previous question, just like how we perceive presence. Does maybe I feel my teacher is speaking to me in life, right? But like, how can we create that for someone in the audience in the moment? Like, how do you create a presence that is somehow there, but it is not?
La pregunta es ¿qué es lo que aprendiste trabajando con Ty? Y la cuestión fue que regresara a la escuela, a hacer a la parte de la escuela de posgrado, era investigar nuevos caminos de expresión que pudieran comunicar de una manera más amplia o diferente, tener nuevas herramientas. Entonces, trabajando con Ty, una de las cosas que como que pude percibir es, yo recibo de alguna forma, pude recibir directamente de mis maestros instrucciones, pero ¿cómo hago esa presencia visible o tangible para el público? Entonces, de esa manera, pues fue de los hallazgos que tuvimos, por lo menos eso puedo decir, de mi parte. Ujú.
I also just would add that I find solos to be very challenging, especially when you're dancing in them. And it's just been such a great gift to have another artist to um, brainstorm with, and I don't know, to open up perspectives with, and to collaborate with. I really like art making that is collaborative. I think that more ideas are generated that way.
También creo que hacer un solo, bailarlo, pero sobre todo si uno lo está haciendo, es un gran reto. Y entonces colaborar con alguien y poder hacer lluvia de ideas y colaborar es una gran ayuda. Entonces, pues eso es algo que quisiera agregar.
I I've always loved dance since I was undergraduate. You know, it's probably a common story, but I went to a modern dance version of the Rite of Spring, and when I was 20, and it blew my mind, and I went back to the next semester of college and um, signed up for modern dance myself so I could try it because I like to try things. I think that's a good way to learn. So I just have loved dance for a long time, and also I worked at a documentary film company, so I was doing the media side of the media art form, and I think dance film is a really interesting art form where at the intersection of those two things that I learned about even later. I don't think a lot of people in the world know a lot about dance film. It has a very small audience, but that's how I got started and just wanted to combine the things I was interested in.
Okay. Ahí le preguntan qué significó la danza para él siendo un artista visual, un artista de multimedia y de medios tecnológicos audiovisuales. Dice que la danza siempre le interesó. De alguna forma había que investigar y por eso en algún momento inclusive tomó clases de danza para empaparse en qué medio es. Y en esa época también estaba haciendo un documental, lo cual le permitió ver esta unión de las artes. Él ha estado conectado con la danza filmada, que hay poca gente que conoce este medio y tiene muy poco público, pero que es una intersección de las artes muy interesante.
Well, sure. I also want to say, I mean, it's been great to have met Kathryn and been able to work with her. And I especially agree with what she said about collaborating. I really wanted to be an artist because I love collaborating, and it's been amazing to be able to do that with her because you get feedback, like she said. And also she's a very, very good dancer. So that's amazing to be able to work with her. And I mean, during this process, we knew we were going to do it in Japan, and I think the influence of Japanese art on American art has been really interesting. I can think of Frank Lloyd Wright, and I can think of Whistler, James Whistler, as examples of people I knew who, I mean, there's a long history of artists being influenced by Japanese art that has such a distinct style. So it was really fun to do the projections. Part of the projections are two-dimensional, and that I made with having gone through a lot of Japanese two-dimensional art. They're based on that. And then we had Kathryn wear something that is Japanese-esque when we filmed the hologram version of her. And then I took that hologram and put it into a video game engine. So you record someone in what's called volumetric video, which is from all sides, 20 cameras. So you can recreate a hologram in a video game engine, and then in the video game engine, you edit where you want a camera to follow them, a single camera. And then you export from the video game engine to the projector. Sorry, that was a lot. I should have stopped talking.
La pregunta fue, ¿nos puedes revelar cómo hiciste la figura de la guía espiritual? Y dijo, bueno, primero pues que estuvo encantado de poder trabajar con Kathryn, que es una gran bailarina, y tener esa oportunidad de también hacer los intercambios de ideas y tal. Pero lo que hizo fue que, bueno, también mencionó que en Estados Unidos pues hay bastante influencia de arte japonés, como fue con Wright y con Whistler. Y que total, le dijo a Kathryn que se vistiera de cierta manera, la filmó, hizo un holograma de esto, el holograma lo metió en un juego, una especie de pantalla de videojuego en el que puedes mover a la figura en 360 grados con 20 cámaras. Luego seleccionas a cuál quieres seguir, con cuál cámara quieres seguir a la figura. Y una vez que eso está hecho, lo sacas y lo metes al proyector. En esencia, eso es.
No, it's my second time.
Your second time, but as an artist?
No, I presented a film at a film festival in Mexico. That's why I went the first time. Go ahead, Kathryn.
Ella se había presentado en México, si es la primera vez. Es la segunda y la primera vez que vino fue a un festival de cine donde presentó una película. ¿Cuál es la expectativa que nuestros dos invitados tienen?
I am just very much looking forward to having the opportunity to perform this piece again. I also think I last performed as a part of this festival in 2011. So I think just I'm really honored to be able to dance in this festival again. I am curious to see how this piece, which I think, you know, we were very influenced by where we would be presenting it and the person that it was kind of made in homage to. And I'm very curious where that will land with the Mexican public and audience, because I also Kazuko loved Mexico and she did a lot of work in Mexico. So I feel like there's a resonance there.
Pues más bien lo que tengo es una curiosidad por ver cómo será recibido esto. Ya la última vez que estuve en este festival fue en el 2011, así es que hace varios años, y pienso que hay una conexión posible por el hecho de que Kazuko hizo bastante trabajo en México, o sea que es un buen lugar para hacer esta obra.
And I would just add real quick that we're iterating on the design and of the projection at least, and you'll see that the screen is interactive, and so I'll be curious to see if we're getting closer to what we have in our minds for how we want the piece to be.
A mí lo que me da curiosidad es ver si lo que tenemos en nuestra cabeza se va a poder reproducir en el espacio que tenemos. Y bueno, pues estoy pensando en cómo hacer esta producción. En esencia, eso es lo que me tiene ocupado.
Mm. So I collaborated on the score for this piece with a composer named John Hadfield, who I've worked with a lot, and I gave him the original recording of the Heart Sutra, which Kazuko used, which makes some appearances in his score. It's quite manipulated, and he just took parts, or uh, but it's there. It's there. Maybe only I know or could recognize it, but the seeds of that mantra are a part of the score that John Hadfield created.
Y se usó la música de Kazuko del Sutra del Corazón tal cual, el mantra, y la contestación es que colaboró con un músico. What's the musician's name? What?
His name is John Hadfield.
Con John Hadfield, con el que ya ha hecho otras colaboraciones musicales, y él lo manipuló bastante. Sí está allá adentro, pero quizás solo yo que lo he visto, que conozco la obra original, puedo saber y reconocer las partes.
I'm hoping that you can all come see Passage at Los Talleres on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Friday at 8 p.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., and Sunday at 6 p.m. To enjoy this homage to Kazuko Hirabayashi, choreographed by myself, Kathyrn Alter, with media and set by Ty Turley. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Espero que todos nos puedan acompañar el fin de semana del 1, 2 y 3 de marzo, viernes a las 8, sábado a las 7 y domingo a las 6 en el Centro Cultural Los Talleres, para ver la pieza que yo coreografié, Passage, con la ayuda de Tyson y
Turley.
Turley. Ay, sorry about that.
No problem.
Turley. Sorry. Y bueno, los invitamos a que nos acompañen.